97 out of every 100 people you'll ever meet will reach the end of their lives without ever experiencing true financial freedom, and most of them will never even figure out why. It's not because they were lazy, it's not because the economy was unfair or because they didn't work hard enough. Most of them worked incredibly hard and still never managed to get out of poverty. The difference between the 3% who build real wealth and the 97% who never get close has nothing to do with intelligence, talent, or luck. It all comes down to philosophy, the way you think about money, time, opportunity, and yourself. I've spent decades studying the habits, the decisions, and the mindset of people who built extraordinary lives from ordinary beginnings, and the pattern is always the same. They changed how they thought before they changed what they had. The outer world always follows the inner one. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what separates those two groups and reveal what you need to do to get yourself out of the 97% for good. Because staying poor was never your destiny. Everything I'm about to share has already changed the lives of thousands of people who put it into practice. Your personal philosophy is the single greatest force shaping your life right now. Not the economy, not the neighborhood you grew up in, not the government, not your boss, your philosophy. I've met a young man, 25 years old, buried in debt, pointing fingers at everyone around him, convinced the world was conspiring against him. He thought about moving to another city, even another country, believing a change of scenery would fix everything. But the problem wasn't the zip code. It was the mindset he'd carry with him wherever he went. The way you think about money, about work, about relationships, that internal conversation you have with yourself every single day, is building your future brick by brick. Rich people and poor people often live in the same city, breathe the same air, and have access to the same libraries and opportunities. What separates them isn't luck or family connections. It's the lens through which they see the world. A man who believes the world owes him something will wait forever, and the world will never show up at his door. When that young man stopped blaming and started asking himself what he could change inside, everything around him began to shift. His income didn't double overnight, but his decisions started improving, his relationships got stronger, and for the first time he felt in control of his own story. Your philosophy is the seed, and every result you see in your life right now is just the fruit of seeds you planted with your thinking. Start paying attention to what you believe, because those beliefs are running your life whether you notice them or not. It's never one big mistake that ruins a life. It's the small ones repeated quietly, every single day, for years. Eating a chocolate bar instead of an apple doesn't feel like a decision that matters, but do it every day for 6 years, and your body tells a completely different story. The same logic applies to your finances, your relationships, your career. Every small choice you make today is a vote for the person you'll be in half a decade. Simple disciplines practiced daily are the real formula behind every extraordinary life I've ever studied. Reading 10 pages of a good book every night instead of scrolling through your phone for an hour sounds small, almost laughably small. But in a year, that's roughly 12 to 15 books. In 5 years, that's a library of knowledge most people will never build. The gap between people who win and people who wonder why they're losing is almost always found in the tiny daily habits that seem too small to matter. The dangerous thing about small errors is that they don't hurt immediately. They're comfortable, even pleasant in the moment. That's exactly why most people never catch them. A missed workout here, a skipped savings deposit there, one more hour of mindless entertainment instead of growth. None of it feels catastrophic today. But compounded over time, these small choices stack up into a life you didn't choose. A life that just happened to you while you were distracted. Working hard is not the problem. Working hard in the wrong direction is. My mentor, Mr. Schoaf, told me something early on that completely rewired how I saw my future. Work hard at your job, and you'll make a living, but work hard on yourself, and you'll make a fortune. Most people give 100% of their energy to their employer and 0% to their own development, and then wonder at 40 why they're still in the same place they were at 25. Your job will pay you just enough to keep you from quitting, and you'll work just hard enough to keep from getting fired. That's the unspoken deal most people accept without ever realizing it. The people who break out of that cycle are the ones who invest in themselves outside of working hours. They read books, attend seminars, find mentors, study the people ahead of them, and treat personal growth like a second job that never stops paying. I started with nothing, a farm boy with a little ambition and a lot of confusion about why life wasn't working out. The moment I stopped waiting for my paycheck to change my life and started investing in my own mind and skills, the trajectory shifted completely. Your income will rarely grow beyond your personal development. Those two things move together, almost like they're tied at the hip. So the real question every person needs to sit with is this: when was the last time you invested serious time in yourself, not in your work, but in you? Wealth isn't built by how much you earn. It's built by the plan you have for every dollar that passes through your hands. Here's a simple framework I've taught for decades that separates people who accumulate wealth from people who just accumulate bills. For every dollar you earn, 70 cents covers your lifestyle, your food, your rent, your transportation, everything you need to live. That leaves 30 cents, and how you split that 30 cents is where your financial future actually gets decided. 10 cents go to charity, not because it looks good, but because giving creates a mindset of abundance that pulls more toward you over time. 10 cents go into active capital, money working aggressively to generate profit, whether that's a small business, investing in skills that increase your income, or buying undervalued assets. The last 10 cents go into passive capital, things like index funds, dividend stocks, or real estate that quietly grow while you sleep. Simple examples to get started: a low-cost S&P 500 index fund through platforms like Fidelity or Vanguard, or a high-yield savings account while you build your first emergency fund. Most people spend first and save whatever's left, and whatever's left is always nothing. The wealthy reverse that order. They allocate first, then live on what remains. Even if you're earning a modest income right now, practicing this discipline at a small scale trains your brain to think like someone who manages wealth. The amount matters far less than the habit. A person earning $30,000 a year with a plan will eventually outperform a person earning $100,000 with no plan. And I've watched that play out more times than I can count. Life moves in seasons, just like the calendar does. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you stop fighting the wrong battle. Winter in life is the hard season. The setbacks, the losses, the days when nothing seems to be working no matter what you do. Most people spend winter complaining, waiting for it to be over, wasting the one thing winter is designed to give them: the chance to get stronger, to prepare, to sharpen everything about themselves while the world is quiet. Spring follows winter. And spring is not a time to relax. It's the most urgent season of all. Opportunity shows up in spring, and it doesn't wait around for you to feel ready. The farmer who hesitates in spring ends up with nothing to harvest in fall, and the same is brutally true in business, in relationships, in every area of life. Plant aggressively when opportunity appears. Say yes to the things that align with your vision. Start the project, make the call, launch the idea. Summer is when the weeds grow just as fast as your crops, and that's the test most people quietly fail. Protecting what you've planted means staying consistent when the excitement of spring is gone and the harvest of fall isn't here yet. It means keeping the habits when nobody's watching, staying loyal to your goals even when distraction shows up in 1,000 tempting forms. And then comes the fall, the harvest, where you take full and complete responsibility for what you reap, because the seeds were yours all along. Goals are not just for ambitious people chasing big bank accounts. They're for anyone who wants to live with intention rather than by accident. The idea that changed my life wasn't about the goal itself. It was about what the pursuit of a goal does to the person chasing it. Set a goal not for what you'll get when you reach it, but for who you'll have to become to get there. That shift in perspective turns every goal into a personal transformation project. When I set my first serious financial goal, I didn't hit it exactly as planned. But the man who emerged from that process was sharper, more disciplined, more resourceful, and more confident than the man who started. The goal was the teacher. The process forced me to develop habits I never would have built without the pressure of a clear target pulling me forward. A practical place to start is simple. Write down one specific goal for the next 90 days. Make it measurable. Attach a deadline to it, and review it every single morning before the day pulls you in 20 directions. The real tragedy isn't failing to reach a goal. It's never setting one in the first place and arriving at 40, 50, or 60 with a life that feels like it belongs to someone else. Goals give your days structure and your years meaning. Without them, you react to life. With them, you direct it. The greatest value of having a goal is not in the destination. It's in the version of yourself you build on the way there. And that version of yourself, the one forged by consistent pursuit, is something no one can ever take from you. All the wisdom of human history is sitting on shelves waiting to be picked up, and only about 3% of the population ever bothers to reach for it. And that gap alone explains a lot about why the world looks the way it does. I'm not talking about reading for school or reading to check a box. I'm talking about reading as a daily discipline. The same way a serious athlete trains every single day, not because they feel like it, but because they understand what consistency builds over time. The difference between someone who reads 30 minutes a day and someone who doesn't compounds in ways that are almost invisible at first and then suddenly enormous. In 5 years, the reader has absorbed thousands of hours of concentrated human experience, strategy, and wisdom. The non-reader has the same opinions they had 5 years ago, wondering why nothing in their life has changed. Knowledge is not passive. Every idea you absorb rewires the way you see problems, opportunities, and possibilities around you. When someone walks into your home and looks at your bookshelf, they get a glimpse into the person you're becoming. A shelf full of great books says you're a student of life. A shelf full of nothing says something too. The most successful people I've ever met were voracious readers. Not because they had more time, but because they understood that knowledge compounds just like money does. Every book you finish deposits a little more wisdom into your account, and one day, that account pays dividends in ways you never saw coming. There are 5 skills that, once developed, can fundamentally shift the direction of any human life, and most people have never been taught even one of them. The first is absorption. The ability to fully take in everything around you without letting it slip by unnoticed. Most people walk through extraordinary experiences with their eyes half open, missing lessons that could change everything. Train yourself to observe, to listen deeply, to notice what's happening in the room, in the conversation, in the market, in the moment. The second skill is emotional response. Letting life actually touch you. People who've built walls around their feelings to protect themselves also block out the fire that drives them forward. The third is reflection, taking quiet time to sit with what you've experienced and extract the learning from it. The fourth skill is action taken while the emotion is still hot, because insight without movement is just entertainment. Most people wait until they feel completely ready, and completely ready never comes. The fifth skill is sharing what you've learned, and this one surprises people. Teaching accelerates your own growth faster than almost anything else because it forces clarity. Start a conversation, write a post, record a video, mentor someone younger than you. The act of transmitting knowledge cements it inside you at a level that passive learning never reaches. These 5 skills work together like a system. Absorb, feel, reflect, act, and share. Build all 5, and you create a self-reinforcing cycle of growth that very few people ever experience. A blank notebook and the discipline to fill it might be one of the most underrated tools for building an extraordinary life. I've told people for years that the 3 greatest inheritances you can leave behind are photographs, a great library, and your personal journals. The raw, honest record of your journey, your failures, your discoveries, and your growth. Of the 3, the journals are the most intimate and the most irreplaceable, because they capture not just what happened, but how you thought and felt while it was happening. Writing in a journal does something that no other habit quite replicates. It forces you to slow down and take your own experience seriously. When you write something down, you stop being passive and become the author of your story. It sharpens your thinking, clarifies your values, and over time, becomes a personal archive of wisdom that belongs entirely to you. Start simple. A basic notebook works just fine, and even 5 to 10 minutes at the end of each day is enough to capture something worth keeping. The people who've kept journals consistently for years always say the same thing when they look back. They can see exactly when they grew, exactly when they made the same mistake twice, and exactly what moments shifted the course of everything. That level of self-awareness is rare, and it's powerful. Your journal is the biography of your becoming, a document more personal than anything money could ever buy. And it starts with nothing more than an honest sentence written down before you go to sleep tonight. Communication is not a gift you're born with. It's a skill you build deliberately, and it might be the highest leverage skill available to any human being. The first step is having something genuinely valuable to say, because powerful communication starts with substance. You can't polish emptiness into gold. Before you worry about how you speak, make sure you've filled your mind with ideas worth sharing. That means reading, reflecting, experiencing, and growing, which is exactly why all the other habits we've talked about feed directly into this one. The second step is learning to say it well. Structure your thoughts clearly, speak with confidence, eliminate filler and noise. The third is reading your audience, understanding who's in front of you and adjusting your delivery to meet them where they are. A message perfectly crafted for the wrong audience lands like a stone thrown into sand. And the fourth step is the one most people forget entirely: emotional charge. Imagine a pin tied to a steel bar. By itself, the pin barely scratches a surface. But attach that bar with force behind it, and the pin drives straight through. Words without emotion scratch people. Words charged with genuine feeling go straight to the heart. Practice this combination every day, in your conversations, in your writing, in how you explain something to a friend. The most influential people in history weren't always the smartest in the room, but they understood how to move people with language. Lincoln, Churchill, Martin Luther King Jr., they each mastered the art of speaking with substance, clarity, and emotion at the same time. You have access to the same skill set they did because it's learnable. Start by having one real conversation today where you listen more than you speak, and say something true with all the feeling behind it that it deserves. Everything I shared in this video only works if you actually use it. Pick one thing, just one, and apply it before this week is over. One real action taken today is worth more than 1,000 intentions that never leave your head. The 97% will feel inspired for a few hours and go back to the same routine. The 3% will move. The choice is yours starting right now. If this video shifted something inside you, go to the comments right now and type, "I'm changing my life in 2026." Because the moment your fingers hit those keys and those words appear on the screen, something shifts. You stop being someone who watched a video and become someone who made a decision out loud. That's where change actually begins. I read every single comment. And if you want to keep building on everything we covered today, subscribe and turn on the notifications. There's a lot more coming, and you don't want to miss what's next.